Yo, what is up YouTube? I'm back with another EVOMON video, and coming from someone with almost 1,000 hours in the game, I'll be showing y'all the best EVOMONs to start off with and which ones you should invest in. And really quick guys, if you are enjoying my content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe guys. It is free, it doesn't hurt, and you can always unsubscribe if you guys aren't liking it. But yeah, let's get right into it. Have you ever wanted to AFK a game? Well, this is the site for you. I'm partnering up with VS Phone. First, I want to say this works for mobile as well, but all you need to do is head on over to my channel or the description of this video and click this link right here. Now, after clicking the link, you will have the option to sign in with whatever you would like to sign in with to claim a 2 to 8 hours free trial time. Now with this, you will be able to download from the actual site and get this VS phone right here, basically giving yourself a free phone, obviously not a real phone, but a phone nonetheless. Be able to download Roblox, make your own macros, make your own AFKs to be able to do what I am doing right here. Now this is completely customizable, and if you really want a full in-depth guide on how to make macros, I have a video on my channel. If you want to check that out, feel free to do so. But other than that guys, big thanks for VS phone for partnering up with us. And yeah guys, let's get on with the video. Alright then, so to start off with, we have 3 options for the starters. We have Bubble, Blaze Pup, and Leaf Bun. I really recommend you guys go for Bubble, as this water typing will carry you through the couple of islands here, but I don't recommend you invest too much time in the starters, as they do tend to fall off and be replaced after playing the game too much. With that being said guys, the first island we are on is Verdant Valley. Everybody spawns here, the starter island, and we have Pebble and Budling. So these two guys are fairly strong honestly in PvP. Even though they're like the first Evomons you encounter, they're actually pretty good Evomons in general. I do recommend grabbing both of them and kind of invest in them a good bit, because Budling is actually the first Evomon you encounter that learns Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb, if you don't know what that is, it basically helps the Evomon regenerate its own health mid-combat. So it's a very useful move, especially because Budling turns into a monster known as Silvernarch, who is very good at taking hits. Now with that being said, Pebble is also just as good because of its high damage ultimate move with the rock throw, especially at tier 3, and on top of that, knowing the move Protect. Now Protect, if you guys don't already know, Protect is one of the best abilities in the game because it's able to have the ability to just be invulnerable to all damaging moves. Now obviously status effects do still go through the Protect, but you don't get damaged for the time being. So if I were to get someone from the first island, I would end up getting both of these guys because they are very good end game material. And so for Petal Pond, we have Moat Bun and Clam Pip. So these two guys aren't very crazy in my opinion. Moat Bun I rarely ever see being used. The only good move about Moat Bun is the fact that it learns Counter. Counter is essentially a move where if you use it, however much damage the opponent does to you, you do back to them with a 1.75 times multiplier. So it's a very good move, especially when you are trying to climb the tower and everything else. But overall, I don't really see him being that crazy, considering there are better Evomons who know Counter. Clam Pip isn't really that crazy. I've seen him being used in PvP, but in terms of PvE, he isn't that crazy to me. I believe he knows the move Protect as well, but it's he's kind of just okay. You know what I mean? There's better Evomons to kind of fill his position. Personally, I would recommend just kind of skipping over these guys in my opinion. If you are just starting off though, I will recommend getting a full team of these guys and obviously having Bubble as your starter so that you can clear out the trainers in Lava Crag. But with that being said, let's move on. Right then, so now that we are at Lava Crag, Sparkit is the first Evomon you encounter on this island. As far as we can see, Levite is over here as well. So out of these two guys, I would really strongly advise you pick Levite, as Levite is a amazing monster, really good monster. He knows the ability to Protect, and on top of that, he even knows two different abilities because he is a fire earth type. He has the ability to use burn, he has the ability to use stone edge, he has very good versatility, and on top of that, he's able to change the weather to sandstorm with his ultimate. A very good move, and overall just solid Evomon in general. He has been with me through my entire progression. Honestly, he's a very good progression guy, and I really do recommend investing in Levite. With Sparkit, it's very situational. I believe he is one of the best. I think he is the best fire type. However, I don't really think having him is gonna be like a game changer, you know what I mean? I believe he is not the greatest because there are a lot of other typings that kind of cover for the fire, like fire typings and whatnot. I would say if you are doing PvP, Sparkit is a very good Evomon for PvP, but for PvE, I wouldn't really recommend it too hard. Alright, so on Amber Acres, we have Datubud and Mudbud. So with these guys, personally, I would choose to go for Mudbud here, as Datubud is pretty good in PvP. However, in PvE, it's a lot of psychic stacking, which is good, don't get me wrong, but me personally, I don't choose to really use Datubud, as I feel like it just takes a little too long to kind of stack them. But I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's just kind of what my take on Datubud is. I know Datu Nymph is really good, but in my opinion, it wasn't really that crazy for me in progression. Over here, Mudbud obviously turns into Thordlord. If you guys don't know who that is, Thordlord is a very good Evomon. He is able to basically solo every boss in the game, I believe. He is mainly used as like the main guy to like 1v1 every boss. He knows Seed Bomb, he knows Earthquake, he knows a bunch of stuff. He can even reduce your accuracy. Like genuinely, Mudbud is such a good Thordlord is such a good addition to your team, and honestly, genuinely, if you're not running him, then you're probably going to struggle a good bit against bosses. That's just my take though. Alright, so on Autumn Hill, I have a video going over how to beat the actual gym leader over here. If you wanted to check that out, it will be on my channel, guys. I have another one kind of like beating the other gym leader as well, so you know, make sure to check that out if you do need help. I talk about making a team for it and everything. But yeah, let's go to the next island. All right, so on Shiver Snows, we have Stardust and Glaclyde. So these guys are very good Evomons in my opinion. I like Glaclyde when I first found him out because I thought he was a very good tanky ice type monster, and on top of that, he's a very good like just solid overall like frostbite applier as well. He is able to 1v1 the Thunder Crane boss or the flying boss, which I will show you guys in a second. So I do recommend catching him just to beat the boss if you really need help with that. On top of that, we have one of the best Evomons in the game in my opinion, which is Stardrift, who can turn into Frostel. Now, Frostel, if you guys don't already know, has a +1 priority legendary trait, which basically means like it gives priority to its status effects, giving it the ability to outspeed even the fastest Evomons in the game. With that being said, Sleep Powder is such a good move. Now, obviously, you can get unlucky and they just wake up the next turn, but if they don't, you are able to apply a Leech Seed, you're able to Giga Drain it, you're able to do so much while they are sleeping. And on top of that, you get your ultimate back so fast. So genuinely, if you are trying to like find the meta, you know what I mean, I really do recommend you get a Frostel, because I think Frostel is just a really good like status overall cover, and honestly, like it's pretty strong too. Alright, so on the Flying Territory Island, like I was saying, this is the King of Flying, or also known as Thunder Crane. If you guys are trying to 1v1 him, I have a video going over exactly how to 1v1 all the bosses. Like I said just earlier, Glaclyde, who turns into Glycidadel, is a very good counter against Thunder Crane. Just letting you guys know that. But yeah, in terms of Thunder Crane, I would really recommend you get Thunder Crane because he's very good for dungeons, challenges, because he's a multi-hitting type of monster. His ultimate does a multi-hit as well, and on top of that, they have a move that also multi-hits. So that's why I usually use it for dungeons and challenges and whatnot and everything else like that. But yeah, other than that, I don't really see you using him as like an end game team, but you know, it's really up to you and your discretion, because it does still do pretty good damage, but I just think there are better options. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Alright, so on Raven Ridge, we have two Evomons on here known as Chirpy and Bluebird. So if you guys don't already know, there is a hidden monster on here, obviously Bluebird, like I was just telling you. He is over here. If you actually want to follow me, let me catch my flying bird. He's over here. You can do the parkour if you want to, but you know, I'm just fly. Obviously, he's not really hidden, but you know, if you're not paying attention, then you will miss him. You know what I mean? Now, this gives you the chance to find Volcrest. Okay, now because Bluebird turns into Volcrest, he is a very strong Evomon, the fastest Evomon in the game with a 121 base stat, obviously with a 123 when it's a shiny. It's the fastest Evomon in the game, and honestly the wing combo, like its ability to place bleed and just have a lightning coverage and a wind and flying coverage is very good. Now I do recommend getting a Volcrest, as they are, like I said, one of the fastest Evomon in the game, and I don't know, he just looks sick too. Kind of looks like a Zapdos in my opinion. But yeah, I really do recommend investing into him. He's very good for PvP and for just progression in general, because you will always outspeed the like trainers and the NPCs and whatnot. So yeah. But yeah, other than that, Chirpy is just Chirpy's just Chirpy. Yeah, he's not really all that. I would recommend skipping him. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Alright, so Silent Sands, home to Humding and Tin Cog. So these two guys are, well, one of them is very good. Humding isn't really all that crazy. Genuinely, he's just kind of mid. Obviously he turns into Twirlby, but like that's really only good in like PvP. In terms of PvE, I don't really think Twirlby is really all that crazy in my opinion, but you know, to each their own. If you would like to use him, I personally don't recommend it. Tincore, or Tincog turning into Tincore. Tincore is able to learn the ability Protect, and one of the only Evomons in the game where it gets back PP after getting a defeat on an enemy. Now, with that being said, it's able to also have an ability that does fixed damage. If you guys don't understand what that means, at tier 3 his ultimate does 300 damage. It always does 300 damage, like bare minimum. On top of that, it deals like the extra whatever damage on top of that, however super effective it is to whoever it's using. It's always gonna do 300 damage if the ultimate is tier 3. So with that being said, it's a very good Evomon, because I mean, you know, it's 300 damage, you know what I mean? Like it dominates in PvP, and PvE is also just as good, you know what I mean? So I really do recommend getting a Tincore, because I think he can just, you know, save your life sometimes. But yeah, let's keep going. Alright, so on Crystal Cascade we have Frostlet and Goatfish. So if you guys are unfamiliar with these guys, Frostlet is one of the best AoE monsters in the game, right next to Sunder Crane. Same thing with Sunder Crane. Genuinely, it's a very good frostbite like it's okay, you know what I mean? It's not really that crazy. It's really only good for dungeons and challenges and raids. But other than that, like progression, like just going through the story and whatnot, I don't really recommend using a Frostier, which is the evolution of Frostlet, because it's just I think you could do better. Yeah, I mean, I think you could do better. Now, Mirefish, which is the evolution of Goatfish. Mirefish is a very good, like, tanky monster because of its ability that can full heal it if it is at upgrade 3. Now, with that being said, Mirefish is such an annoying character, like genuine, like, flashbacks, because in PvP he is just a menace if you don't have any grass moves, and on top of that, if the other opponent doesn't have grass moves, then you're gonna be a menace, you know what I mean? So yeah, I really do recommend getting a Mirefish if you do need somebody who just like stays alive on your team. But obviously, if you don't need anybody who could do that, then you know, you don't need to get Mirefish. But I will warn you, Mirefish is kind of like a double-edged blade, because it is a double negative against grass moves, meaning it might get one-tapped by a grass move. It will get one-tapped by a grass move. So do it with you know, with discretion. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Dusk Town. Like I said before, I have a video going over how to beat these gym leaders, but before we leave this island, we have a secret Evomon on this island, which some of you might not know is Pumpaw. Pumpaw is the evolves, or the pre-evolution of Pumash. It's a very, very good fighting type, and the strongest fighting type in the game in terms of physical attack. But other than that, it's kind of like a glass cannon in my opinion. Its speed and everything else isn't really that crazy, but its ability like to do damage is pretty high. But, you know, like I said, up to you if you'd like him, but I don't personally think you should use him. I think he's very, very cool, but he's not very, like, I don't think he can bang out in the, like, later progression stages. That's just me personally. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Alright, so on Canyon Oasis, we have two Evomons, Gem Pillar and Chipmite. Chipmite turns into Chitlodon, which is a very, very tanky monster. Its a legendary trait gives it the ability to regen on 60%, I believe, 60% damage of their poison damage. So basically Chitlodon can apply poison and 60% of that damage will go back to Chitlodon's HP. So it's very, very good, very, very tanky. Its ability to stack poison is also very, very good. Now if you're looking for a stalling guide, this is your man, like, honestly. But overall, I'm not a huge fan of him, but you know, if you want to use him, feel free to, you know what I mean? Like, there's no downside, but there's no like crazy upside, you know what I mean? But yeah, so on to Gem Pillar. Gem Pillar turns into Gem Press, which is one of my favorite Evomons in the game, just strictly on the fact that it can apply confusion. If you guys don't know what confusion is, basically if it's on your Evomon, they can only use 40 power skill moves, and basically once the 3 turns are over, they can basically hit you with another like confusion. So it's like literally controlling the way the battles go. In my opinion, it's one of the best to go against NPCs because NPCs don't switch out, so they're just going to constantly get hit by your Swarm Assault, which is the confusion move. So I really do recommend getting a Gem Press if you are trying to beat like the NPCs and whatnot. Now do be warned, you should upgrade its speed so it can actually bang out with the other people's like Evomons. But yeah, on to the next one. Alright, so on Murkwood we have Vipip and Taro, sorry. So with that being said, Vipip isn't really that crazy of a monster. He turns into a Viparch, and it's more of a glass cannon, and it applies a lot of poison, which is also very good. But personally, I don't really recommend using him because there are better options in my opinion. But yeah, to each their own, like I said. Now Taro turns into a Tarragon, which Tarragon is one of the strongest Evomons in the game for progression. Like, if there were ever a time to like recommend a monster, it is Tarragon. Now the ability to just negate 60% of the damage if your Evomon is full HP is just insane, because that's what Tarragon has. Its legendary trait makes it so that it negates 60% of the damage, and if it's full HP, it's just gonna keep doing that rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And Tarragon has a move called Seed Bomb, which I talked about earlier, is basically regeneration, especially if you stack it up. So it's pretty insane, and genuinely it could 1v1 I think it might be able to 1v1 like every trainer in the game, genuinely. It's very, very good if you do it, if you play it right. But yeah, like I said, I really do recommend getting a Tarragon if you can, and if you can't, well, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Alright, so on Netherland we have Starloop and Wispex, or yes, Wispex, or Wispuff. Sorry about that. Wispex is the final evolution of Wispuff, which I recommend actually getting him because he applies crazy status effects, personally. I don't personally use him, but I do know, like, I've seen the light side, you know what I mean? Like, it applies crazy status effects, and if you are like really into like just abusing these status effects and just having them slowly die off, then like Wispex is for you personally. Starmuse isn't really that crazy to me. I know some people who use Starmuse, but like, I don't know, just it didn't really seem that crazy to me because it's Psymark. You have to actually hit it first for it to actually deal the damage, you know what I mean, versus like Poison where it just passively takes away the damage, you know what I mean. But that's just my personal thoughts on it. But yeah, if I were to ever like pick a Psychic Psymark type of person, it would be Wispex, because whenever you apply Poison, you add 2 stacks of Psymark. So that's why I said the status effects is pretty crazy on Wispex. But let's head to the next one. Alright, so on Rocky Ridge we have these two guys over here known as Fluffit and Spike Hub. So with these guys, Spike Hub isn't really crazy to me. I've heard of that he is meta for the dungeons because its ability to just hit multiple enemies, like I said, with the Frostier and Sundercrane. Spike Hub kind of fits in that same category. Now, Fluffet, who turns into Fluffistar, used to be really good, but was replaced by the newer and improved Cyanide, and that's because they share the same ultimate, where basically if your special defense is higher than the enemies, then it's just gonna be like their ultimate is just gonna be infinitely stronger. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna get that extra bonus of damage and just maybe one tap, honestly, depending on the difference in special defense. It really matters with their ultimate. But yeah, if I were to ever recommend to get one, I would recommend getting a Fluffastar, or I mean a Fluffette, because their ultimate is still very good. But if you can get a Cyanide, I recommend you just get a Cyanide, because he's just a better version of Fluffastar. Yeah, but let's go to the next one. Alright, finally we are on Thunder Cliffs, which used to be the final boss of Evomon until they obviously added the other islands. Now with this one, I have a video going over how to 1v1 every single boss. This is one of the reasons why you should get a Mudbud, who is obviously Thord Lord. He can 1v1 Archapex, and if you guys want to know how, I have a video on my channel as well going over how to solo the bosses with 2 Evomons. But yeah guys, if you guys did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And if you guys want a continuation of this video of me going over the rest of the islands and, like, you know, who else to get, you know, I'm really excited to see the next update, because I'm pretty sure these islands are being released as well. I would love to do like a part 2 of this video if you guys really enjoy it. And, you know, big shouts out to VS Phone for sponsoring this video. But yeah guys, let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything, or if you have a different view on a certain Evomon. Leave it down below. But other than that guys, I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later!